oxygen masks on aeroplanes, they trigger fear in lots and lots of passengers. Let's discuss why. I think it's down to potentially TV and films. It's been shown, in disaster movies, the oxygen masks drop down, there's some turbulence, and something terrible happens to the aeroplane. I know this firsthand because I had a fear of sharks for years because as a kid, I watched Jaws. And then when I went to the Caribbean, I constantly thought I was going to get bitten. It's that related thing in your brain, the pictures, the terror, and that's the trigger thing for you. And it can be oxygen masks for people. So let's talk about that now. Okay, oxygen masks on aeroplanes, right? We have a pressurization system in an aeroplane. When it flies up at altitude, 36, 38, 40,000 feet, you can't really breathe up there if you're outside because it's freezing cold, -50, and there's not enough oxygen for humans to breathe and survive. So we pressurize the aeroplane with a couple of different systems. Those systems have different computers controlling them, different valves, different pipework. It all comes from the engines. Some other airliners have electric compression packs, and they feed the cabin with air, and they pressurize the cabin so it almost descends it as if it's at 6,000, 7,000 feet up a mountain. It's that sort of thickness of air. You don't need it down at ground level. You'd need thicker, heavier airplanes to cope with that pressure, and we don't need it, so we don't have it. So if anything happens to those systems, if something breaks inside of them, they have a backup system, a backup computer. If one of the systems completely goes down, there's a second one which will take over. You won't even know about it down the back. We'll just be told up front, this is what's happened, this is what's kicked in. And it's highly, highly unlikely. In 11 years of flying airliners and 17 in the Air Force, I think I've heard of about 5 instances between all of my colleagues. It's never happened to me of having to do an emergency decompression. However, I have practiced it every time in the sim, every 6 months for the last 25 years. So all pilots know exactly what to do. And it's not that big a deal. If the compression system fails, that we'll get warnings. It can be slow. It's not a terrible emergency. Always, it's just slowly. We'll then talk to air traffic. We'll descend the aeroplane from 38 down to 10,000 feet. Why 10,000 feet? Because the valves will open on the aeroplane. They'll let normal air in. You can breathe at 10,000 feet. You will have an oxygen mask drop because we don't want you sat down the back short of oxygen. We have to think of the person, the lowest common denominator, who might be a little baby. It might be someone with breathing problems. So we have to feed them oxygen. Same as when you go scuba diving or you have a medical problem, you're going to get an oxygen mask to give you enough oxygen. That's all we're doing. The pilots will descend. We're down at 10,000 feet. Why would that terrify anybody? It shouldn't. Commercial aviation in a Cessna, that's their top altitude. They fly around all day at that level, and that's what we'll do. We have loads of fuel. We carry enough fuel to fly down at that level where we burn a bit more fuel to go to a diversion. You'll be off oxygen masks by now. There'll not be an issue, and we'll land. That's it. If this interests you, check the bio. You can sign up to my newsletter. You get a topic like this covered every week. It'll help you fly happy and fly safer.